What is up, guys? Doc in Progress here, and today we'll be talking about my dedicated schedule. I've gotten this question over and over again on a lot of my videos, and I felt it would be worthwhile to talk about it in an individual video, so that's what we're doing here. First and foremost, in the description box, I have put a link to download the study schedule that I've put in an Excel file for you guys. I would suggest downloading it and looking at it while you watch this video so you can kind of follow along. But basically, first let's go over what I did for dedicated on a kind of week-by-week basis. So I had 6 weeks for dedicated, and 1 week before dedicated, the Friday before dedicated started, I did an NBME practice exam. And I would suggest you do the same, just to kind of get a feel of where your knowledge lies kind of before dedicated starts. I wouldn't suggest doing it any earlier than 1 week before, though, because honestly, by the point where I was 1 week before dedicated, I had already learned all the criteria and all the details and information I need for step 1 studying. If you haven't really finished your courses yet, that can be difficult to do. If you're close to finishing your courses, of course, you know, you can do it, which is what happened to me. I was in GI, but I finished studying for GI on my own, so I'd already known all the content. So it was worthwhile to take the NBME practice exam. Do not waste practice exams before you've learned all of the information. I do have friends at other schools where their school makes them waste practice exams, basically taking them months before dedicated even starts, and I think that's completely stupid. Do not waste practice exams. They are gold. You should only be using them once you have learned all of the information, and you're using them to test your knowledge and test taking capabilities. Obviously, you're not going to do well on an NBME practice exam if you haven't learned all the information you need to take step 1. Dedicated is about reviewing, not learning. And I stand strongly with that. You should not be learning really anything new during dedicated. It should all be review. If you're learning anything new during dedicated, it's a problem. And sure, there's going to be a few things here and there. You'll see some, microbial stuff or microbiology type stuff that you've never seen before, which is an easy unlock. You unlock a card, you make a card, and there you go, that's your knowledge. But you shouldn't be having issues with full kind of segments of things, like having to learn restrictive versus obstructive lung disease. That shouldn't happen. You should already know that. You should just be reviewing the chart, how they look, etc. So basically, like I said, 1 week before dedicated, I took an NBME practice exam. Okay, and so I reviewed that. I took, a day or two to review that, chilled, I still had a test coming up, and that's all I did for there. And, I was doing Anki. And also I should say that I did start doing UWorld little by little, starting in like February, I would say late February, just to kind of get it down to a doable number of questions in dedicated. So going onto that, basically after I did my NBME practice exam, I took that week. I didn't really do anything except Anki, a little bit of UWorld, but not much. I wanted to take that week to relax. Now the next Friday comes along and I do one of the UWorld practice exams. And over that weekend, technically dedicated has started, but I really thought of it as starting on Monday. I wanted to take 1 weekend to just kind of relax, not worry about school, not worry about anything. So I did that UWorld practice exam, and I reviewed it the day of and the next day. Then I took the rest of the day off, and I took Sunday off. So Monday of dedicated, the first day of dedicated, true dedicated, I start UWorld. The amount of UWorld questions you should do away is 80. That is 2 blocks. Anything more than 80, I feel, is just not doable in a efficient way. Sure, you can do 200 questions a day, but are you really reviewing them? Are you really looking at them closely? I do not advise doing any more than 80, because 80 is what I feel is what you can do and reasonably review in a day without kind of burning out your brain. You can really take in that information. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I did UWorld in the mornings, 80 UWorld questions a day. In the afternoons on those days, I would do my Anki deck. After my Anki deck was done, that was the end of my study day. I relaxed, watched some TV, so on and so forth. Friday morning, I took a practice exam. After the practice exam, I took a little bit of a break because it's a 5-hour exam, 4-hour exam, whatnot. and then I reviewed it. Sometimes I'd get burnt out, so I didn't review the whole thing. I reviewed most of it though. And then after that, in the afternoon, late afternoon, I did my Anki, and I was done for the day. Saturday morning, I reviewed the rest of the test, and if there was no test left, I just went on straight to the next step, which was doing one block of UWorld, which is 40 questions. So on Saturday, the morning, basically I did the rest of the review, and then I did 40 UWorld questions and reviewed them. After that, I did Anki, and the rest of the day was off. Sunday, I did Anki in the morning, and that was the end of my day. I took 1/2 day off a week, basically. Sunday afternoon was my time to relax, do what I want, not worry about step 1. And I basically rinsed and repeated that cycle for 6 weeks. Now, I had a few deviations here and there, not many though. You won't see my deviations on your chart, but you won't see my deviations on the study schedule I gave you because they were my deviations for a specific reason. But the study schedule I've outlined for you was basically exactly what I did. I recommend it. I think it's a good way to go about things. If you have studied, or rather, if you have followed my advice up until this point, you have been doing Anki, so therefore you should know all the information at this point, and this schedule should fit you perfectly. If you haven't been doing Anki, of course you'll have to adjust and kind of do your own thing, but this is the way I advise to do it. You'll notice I haven't explained exactly what NBMEs to do on the study schedule, and I'll be putting that in another video, the NBMEs I recommend for you to do and the order in which I recommend you do them. There is one NBME though that you see at the end of the schedule I gave you called NBME 120, and what that is a free NBME that you can take on your own. It's online. You just search it up, and I felt that that was a nice one to end on. I felt that it kind of gave a good feel of where you were, but it wasn't so hard that you were kind of thrown off your balance. A good one to end on. You know, if you perform strongly, which you probably will at that point because you have studied so much, you've done a lot of practice exams, and you're kind of good to go. It's a nice one to just finish off, feel good in yourself that you are ready for this test, or as ready as you can be. And so guys, that was kind of basically the breakdown of my study schedule. A lot of people ask me if I felt like the test kind of mimicked any of the NBMEs or UWorld tests, or where did it fall in things. And to be honest with you, it's difficult to say. I do recall that I felt at the time the test I took was most like NBME 120 mixed with UWorld 2. That was my own experience. Everyone has a different experience. But again, in my next video, we'll be talking more about the NBMEs and UWorld practice exams, and we'll get more nitty-gritty into that. But I just wanted to plug that in there to kind of give you an idea that, yes, it is worth doing the NBMEs and the UWorld exams because I felt there was a mixture of both in my test. So please let me know if you have any questions. I hope that was helpful, and I hope the schedule I provided is helpful to you. I wish you the best during this dedicated period, and keep going, friends. You got this.